Hello, welcome back to the Change Order series. This is part 2 of 5, and if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I highly recommend going back to check that one out first. It'll give you the foundation for everything we are covering today. This series is all about demystifying change orders because while they get a bad rap, and honestly, for good reason, they really aren't the problem. The real issue is how some builders use them to cover for vague scopes, bad planning, or worse, to squeeze more profit out of your trust. So, in this series, I'm showing you how we do things differently, and specifically how we plan, how we communicate, and how we make space for change without the chaos. So let's dive into today's episode. I've heard this from time to time, and if a contractor brags that they don't really do change orders, I don't think that's a flex. I mean, that's like going to a restaurant that never gives you a receipt. You're still paying, you just don't know for what. Today, I'm going to break down the 3 types of change orders and what each one tells you about the quality of the project and the mindset of the builder. Today, you're going to learn what's normal, what's avoidable, and what's a red flag. Also, how we categorize changes for total transparency and how this builds trust instead of tension. So to get into that story a little bit more, I once had a homeowner tell me that they had hired a builder who said they don't really do change orders. And that sounded great to them at the time. But by the end of the job, they were 30% over the original number. And they really didn't have an idea why. And that hit me like a punch to the gut because that's not good for our industry. Because that homeowner thought that they were avoiding the change order problem. But what they were actually avoiding was the documentation. There was no paperwork, no record, no clarity. And I think that's worse because now they just felt frustrated and they felt misled. And that's the kind of experience that makes homeowners think, maybe this was my fault. Maybe I didn't understand. And I say, no, that is not the case. It's not your job to understand the process. It's our job to make sure you're guided through it with honesty and transparency. So here's what we teach our team and our clients. There are 3 types of change orders, and each one tells a story. So the first one is client requested changes. And I personally think this is a best case scenario. It happens when the client sees things coming together and says, you know what, now that I'm standing here in this space, I want to go ahead and I want to add this additional item, this additional feature. And it's not a surprise and it's not a correction, it's a choice. And it usually happens when the client feels seen, safe, and supported. And we love this type of change order because it's driven by vision and not panic. And the client is getting what they want. The second type of change order is an unforeseen condition. And these are these scenarios where we have to make the change. It's just better for your home. For example, we open a wall and we find hidden water damage that hadn't presented itself outside of the wall, or we find improper plumbing connections from a previous remodel. So it wasn't in the original scope because we couldn't have known. But when we see it, these changes are honest and necessary. And when they're communicated clearly, they don't break trust. They actually build it because the client knows we are fixing a problem we couldn't foresee and that we brought it to them with clarity and care. So type 3, this one's a little bit harder. These are builder missed items. And because it means something got dropped, a measurement was missed, a discussion wasn't documented, it's a mistake. And look, we're human, it happens. But when it does, the way you handle it, I think matters so much more. For us, because we sign a fixed price agreement, we own it, we explain it, and more times than not, we're also covering it. Because if we messed up, it's not your bill to pay. For some builders, it's an opportunity to write a change order, but not for us. We also track and categorize all of our change orders, and we do so we can learn. So of the 3 that we just mentioned, I know the general percentage that we're hitting on every project, and we can get better and better for reducing them. And so here's my invitation to you. If you're interviewing a builder or you are already in the early stages, ask them, do they track change orders? Do they categorize them? And what do they consider a client-driven or internal change? And the way they answer will tell you a lot, because this is about a partnership, clarity and accountability. And when you have that, change orders don't have to be scary. They can actually feel empowering. And if you like that feeling and you're considering a remodeling project, you can check out our website link in the description below to learn more. And in the next episode, we're going to jump into and talk about one of the biggest traps in remodeling, and that is rushing to build before the plan is clear, and how that one decision can cost you more than just money, specifically time. Be sure to check out the free download for the change order guide in the link below. Thank you.